As an individual, when things are not moving on well in your life, definitely you are not doing something right. And what could that be? Probably, don't get me wrong. You may have set your goals wrongly, or your goals are unrealistic. Yeah, that's the hardest truth. On that note, today's topic for discussion is how to set realistic goals. And you are once again welcome to the Let's Talk show on DS Online TV GH. And as always, Reverend Dr. Israel Abambila is here to help us understand and grasp the very important topics that helps us as individuals to grow in this life. Reverend, you are welcome.
Thank you.
Please, how has your day been?
Oh, by the grace, that's been fine.
How is ministry, family, everything? How are you managing?
The grace of God is sufficient for us.
Okay, we thank God for that.
Yes.
Today we want to talk about how to set realistic goals.
Okay.
So quickly help us understand the meaning of that. Our emphasis or our focus here is the word realistic.
Okay.
So kindly help us understand how can we set realistic goals, or let's take it from this point. What does it mean to set realistic goals as an individual?
Okay. Thank you very much. You cannot achieve everything in this life. You can only achieve some things. And you should do that by examining your strength, your inner capacity, your desires, and the vision in mind. If that is okay by you, then you need to find out how you can achieve them by looking to where you are, where you are going, and what you have. This will help you to set realistic goals. If you are not able to examine yourself well and look into yourself to know your capabilities and what you can do, you end up thinking that you can do what somebody else is doing, which may not be achievable, and that may not be real.
Okay.
Somebody can just say, okay, 10 years from now, I'm going to be a millionaire. That may not be realistic. So being able to find out the truth about yourself, the reality about what you want to achieve, and knowing how to achieve them is what helps you to set realistic goals. Okay. For example, you may come from a family that is not well-to-do, a very poor family, and I say we have different types of poverty. Some the POO is 3.
Hey.
And you come from that family, and then you say, okay, I want to become a medical doctor. It is not real. You start from where you are.
Okay.
Knowing who you are, knowing what you have. Then you can look at one thing that you want to achieve based on the circumstances around you. Because we live life in phases, one step at a time. You can't just jump to the other side. So you look into yourself, being realistic about who you are, what you have, where you are, where to start from. Then you can find out one thing that you want to achieve and then set goals on how to achieve them. Setting goals on how to achieve what you have in mind is what we call realistic goals.
Okay.
It means it's not just a mirage. It's not just an imagination. It is something that is tangible, something that is workable, and something that is achievable. They become realistic.
Okay.
Yes.
When we talk of setting realistic goals or goal setting in general, some words come into play. So I would want us to take them one after the other for you to expatiate on them for our viewers to get what we really mean by setting of goals.
Okay.
So we'll start obviously with the word goal. What does that word mean?
Goal is something you intend to achieve.
Okay.
I want to become a footballer. It is a goal, something that you want to achieve. I want to become a teacher. It's something you have in mind to achieve in the future. So anything you have in mind is a goal. It is something you are focusing on. You are not moving up and down. Something you are focusing on. This is what I want to become. It becomes a goal.
Okay.
But if you don't have that, then you don't have goals in life. So people move up and down. Today they are selling this, tomorrow they're selling that, because they don't actually have a specific goal in mind that this is what I want to be. This is what I want to achieve.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. The next word will be objectives. How, yes, just kindly explain that to us with regards to setting of goals in life.
Once you have a goal, you look out for the objectives. The objectives, we can just look at, let's say, objects.
Okay.
Like how you intend to achieve them. For example, I want to become a footballer, but you are not yet a footballer. What are the steps you will take to become a footballer?
Okay.
So the steps you put in place to become a footballer is what we call objectives.
Okay.
It's not just a goal you are having, but there are certain things you put in place that will lead you to what you want to achieve.
Okay.
And those becomes your objectives for your goals.
Okay.
Yes.
The next word will be indicators.
Okay.
Yes, please.
An indicator, to my understanding, just like I'm using football, for example.
Okay.
If I say, okay, I want to play for Black Stars, then I play for, let's say, a football team at Jessica. I could not score any goal. I play another one at KJB. I couldn't score any goal. Then I moved to Nkwanta. I couldn't score any goal. And maybe even the second game, I was removed because of poor performance from the previous game that we played. These are indications that I cannot become a professional footballer. If you have a goal, you have an objectives, and you start taking step by step, the steps you are taking indicates that you will get there. So when you realize that there is no indication, the first step is not working, the second step is not working, then there's no indication that you will achieve the goal that you have set before you. Okay. So indicators are signs that we see on our route of achieving our goals. Okay. If they are there, they motivate us to go more. If they are not there, you can still sit back and draw other better objectives on how to get the vision achieved.
Okay. So
indicators are signs, little signs we see on our way to greatness.
Okay.
Yes.
So can you also say that indicators are, let me say, the results of our objectives?
Oh yes, they are the result. It could be positive, it could be negative, but these are the signs that shows that either you are on your way or you are not on your way. Yes. Okay. So you're right.
The next word will be strategies. Yes. What does it mean to have strategies when setting goals?
The strategies are, let me use the word, the various forms, the various methods, the various ways you want to use to achieve them.
Okay.
For example, let's say you want to go to Pando. Somebody can choose to pass through Alavanyo. Another one passes through Kwati to go there. Now, if you want to get there, how do you get there? The different mediums that you put in place to achieve the goals that you set before yourself are what we call strategies. Okay. You cannot just move without plans. So the plans you put in place, the method you want to use, the various means that you want to deploy to achieve results are the things we can say that they are strategies.
Okay, so could the strategies be the same as action plans? Or there is a slight difference?
There's a slight difference. When you get the strategy, you want to test the strategy. You want to move on and make it work. And that becomes the action plan.
Okay.
For example, let's say we want to touch this screen that is before us. Okay. I can choose to pass this way. That is one of my strategies. Okay. I can choose to pass this way. It's one of my strategies. So taking the steps to get there is the action plan.
Okay.
So I can have a strategy and they are just written strategies. They are just imaginationary strategies.
Okay.
But once you take a step to achieve them, then it becomes the action plan of what you put in place to get there.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So taking the steps is the action plan.
Okay, so the second to last word I want us to look at, this one, reviews and evaluations. Yes, what does it mean to review and evaluate when you are setting up goals as an individual?
Okay. When you want to achieve anything in life, as you make progress, you have to go back to follow your back steps
Okay.
to find out whether they are accurate, whether they are correct, whether your original plan is still working out. That is the review.
Okay.
You sit back and look at your previous achievement to see whether they can amount to where you are going. And that will tell you whether to slow down or to increase the speed or to maintain the speed. The review helps you to examine one after another your first steps to where you are to see whether you are still on track. For example, if you want to become a teacher and then you wrote your SSCE, you were able to pass. Maybe you are left with one or two papers to write. You wrote the first time, you didn't get. You wrote the second time, you didn't get. You have to sit back and look at that critically, whether you still really want to become a teacher, and whether with what you have done so far, you are making progress to where you want to be. So if you are moving without reviewing, you wouldn't know how much you have done,
Okay.
how much changes that you need to initiate, and what next step to take in order to get the same result. So your focus should not only be at where you are going, you should also consider the previous achievement, the subsequent achievement, to see whether you are still on your way.
Okay.
Yes, and that becomes the review. It's almost the same as evaluation.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So obviously, the final word, the outcomes. Yes. What do they tell us, or what do they mean when one is setting a goal?
Yes, when you set goals, you are going to test them to see whether they are workable. Some of them will take you 3 years. Some of them will take you 2 years. Some of the goals you have in mind can take you 10 years, some 6 months. Okay. But when those things are done, you want to find out whether you are still on track or you are not. So you examine your steps, you examine your actions, you examine the strategies you put in place to see whether you are still maintaining the same thing that you had originally. People get on the way and they get deviated. At the end of the day, they still have to come back and start all afresh. But if we keep doing these things, it helps us to measure our progress.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now we would want to digest the topic itself after looking at the various words that come to play.
Okay.
What's the difference between setting a realistic goal and then aiming too low
Okay.
as an individual?
Okay. When you want to set a realistic goals, it must be high. It must be something that challenges you,
Okay.
something that motivates you, but you know that it is possible. There may be challenges you have envisioned. There may be other problems that you are thinking about, but deep down within you, they are higher than you, but you are so sure that you can achieve them. In as much that you are sure that you can achieve them, they should not threaten you to a point that you can hit below the belt.
Okay.
So, some people set realistic goals, but when they realize that it is higher than them and the price to pay is more than they can imagine,
Yeah.
then they settle for the less. So, settling for the less is what we call you have settled for something that is lower than the realistic goals that you put in mind. Somebody, let's say you want to become a medical doctor. You feel that the challenge is so high. You have to get the A's. You have to get all.
Yeah, all A's.
And you later realize that, okay, the school I find myself, I don't think I can get all these things. Let me just relax. At least if I can get C and C plus or C minus, I can just get something to do.
So far as it's not a D.
Good. Once you do that,
you've settled.
You have settled for the less. But a realistic goal should be higher than where you are. Should be challenging. It should be motivating. It should be captivating. It should be something that you have sleepless night with. But you know within you that even though I'll face obstacles, but this thing, I'll die for it because it is achievable.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. You mentioned settling for less as a way of, that's definitely one of the ways people fail to achieve these goals they set in life.
Yeah.
What other ways do people fail by in trying to achieve goals in life?
Yeah. One of the ways is people keep changing their plans.
Okay.
They don't have a specific thing that they want to die for. When they try this and it doesn't work, then they want to change and try something else. When they get there and there are challenges, then they deviate to something else. It's one of the ways that people are not able to achieve their goals. Secondly, some people look too much at where they are. They look too much at their background. Now, it is your background, that is why you want to change. And that is what has motivated you to have certain goals. So you don't have to look at where you are coming from. Oh, I'm from a typical village. My mother don't have, my father don't have. My siblings are looking up onto me and many others. Once you are considering only where you are coming from, without thinking about where you are going, you are likely to achieve those ones. Okay. And then the last one on that point, people fear challenges. Yes. They say, oh, I want to achieve this. Once one challenge shows up, they will change their mind. But remember, anything that you want to achieve, there are challenges that will confront you in daily basis. But you might believe in where you are going than the things you pass through.
Okay.
Because it is those things that make your life better when you get there. Yeah. You don't only have to achieve things, you also have to also acquire some kind of experiences. Okay. It's not only getting it, but you must acquire experiences before getting it so that you can know how to handle it. Okay. Yes.
All right. Okay. So from the beginning, you mentioned that setting a realistic goal must be a goal that is possible.
Yeah. Achievable.
And achievable.
Yeah.
So how then do you determine as an individual that this particular goal of mine is achievable?
Number one, you look at people as your motivation.
Okay.
If this person can do it, I can also do it.
Okay.
There are many, many stories that you can read around where you are. You want to become a TV presenter, some people did it. You want to become a journalist, no, some people did it. So you use those people as your motivation to say, well, if this one can do it, I can also do it. Secondly, you look at your steps. If the little things you're doing now are easier, because the goals, even though we come to that, must be categorized.
Okay.
You must have short-term goals and then long-term goals, even though we'll come to that. But one of the things that can let you know that they're achievable is that what you did today became successful. What you are going to do tomorrow, you realize that it becomes successful. Then the third day. So you are encouraged, and these are signs that are showing you that you can do more and you can do better. But if you start, just like I said before, the first one don't work, the second one don't work, the third one don't work, the fourth one don't work, it's a sign that you are likely not to get there. But if you can start achieving little success right from the beginning, they become a hallmark to where you are going.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Does self-awareness have a role to play when setting goals?
Yes, they play a major role. You need to know yourself. And when you know yourself, you will now know what you can do.
Okay.
And if you know what you can do, you now decide what you want to achieve. If not, you will go and then set a goal that is opposite yourself. Let me use myself for example. I don't like calculations.
Okay.
Yes, anything mathematics, I try to avoid it. But you can give me a very big book. Give me a few days, I'll finish it.
Oh.
Now, with this, I should not be thinking that I want to become an accountant or a mathematician. Okay?
Yeah.
I've examined myself and realized that that is the problem I have. Anytime they say this is maths, period, my heart. By anything English, social studies, whatever that is readable, I will influence everybody in the class. I will jump from one table to another, knowing very well that it doesn't matter the question they said. I'll be there. But anything called maths, economics, science, those kind of things, it doesn't work with me. Okay, so you examine yourself. So assuming all these things I'm telling you, and normally maths is my low, marks.
Oh, okay.
Yes, from childhood. I don't know why. Okay, now knowing very well that these are my challenges, and I'm motivating myself that I want to become a mathematician over a subject that I don't have flair for, that will not work. So you really have to examine yourself. If you are somebody who cannot think for yourself, somebody who cannot manage your own self, somebody who cannot sit down and think well of what you want to achieve, you should not be thinking of becoming a businessman or a businesswoman. Because there's no supervision. If you are a teacher, definitely the directors will come around, the CS will come around to try to find out what you have done so far. But if you're a businessman, you are left alone to yourself. There are other people competing with you. And some people with the same business will like you to fail. And you have a lot of challenges. And this is somebody who doesn't even, who cannot even take decisions on his own, that cannot be self-independent. You cannot be a businessman or businesswoman. You must be self-motivated. You must be self-encouraging. You must be self-sacrificing in order to be a business person. So you have to examine yourself. Don't just say that because I have classmates and they said they want to do this, I want to join them. Don't just say, okay, somebody, this is what they want to achieve is so much applaudable, let them also get into it. No, know yourself. And it is when you know yourself, then you know what you are capable of doing, and that will help you to know what you want to achieve for life.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I would say self-awareness is one of the methods to achieving realistic goals.
Yes.
What other methods do we have, if you care to share with us?
One of the methods to achieve realistic goals is to read and research around it.
Okay.
You can't just jump into it without having perfect understanding of how that works. You want to start a provision shop. You have not found out if you buy one bowl of granite, by tying it 2 CDs, 1 CD, how much profit is to it? If you buy one bag of sugar, and you have to measure it by bowls, what you make out of it. If you have not done the research around all those things, you get to it and realize that what you were thinking is not what is on the ground. So you must always research around your goals, around your visions. Find out how they are done, how they are achieved, how you can start, how you will begin with it and end with it. So research is one of the things that can help achieve your goals. And lastly, because of time, we should also think of working with people who are on the same lane.
Okay.
Yes, that is why you don't see the goat. Normally, you don't see the goat walking with the sheep. You don't see the sheep walking with the fowl. You know, we move life by classes. So find out those who are already on that path and then partner with them. There are many things you can learn from them that you may never read from books. You learn their actions, how they take decisions. So I like working with businessmen. And one of the reasons of how they are able to manage their time, how they're able to discipline themselves. I have a businessman in town, I don't want to mention name. It doesn't matter the amount of money on the drawer. When you come to ask him for money, if it's not from your pocket, then there's no money for that day. If you want to buy food, he doesn't buy it from the sales. He buys it from his personal money in his pocket. That is discipline. You see, once you are a business person, people are going to bring items. They will bring microwave, they will bring blender, they will bring shoes. They say it's very cheap, or you can take it. After 2 weeks,
You come
we'll
back for
come
the
for the
money.
money. And then you think there's money on the drawer, you pick it and pay, pick it and pay. By the time you realize, you say demons are worrying your business. You have not been disciplined on how to handle money in business. So I learned those things from them, how they manage their time, how they treat their employees, and many other things. So get people on the same lane, on the same direction. Work with them. There is more you can learn from them that can motivate you and help you achieve your dreams effortlessly.
All right.
Yes.
Definitely, there will be setbacks when trying to achieve those realistic goals you have as an individual. How do you handle those setbacks when they come?
One of the best ways to handle setbacks is to know from the beginning there will be.
Okay.
If you are conscious,
Self-consciousness.
yes.
Okay.
You have the self-consciousness that, okay, this thing I'm doing is not free. There will be challenges. There will be criticism. Once you have that in mind, when they shows up, you have already prepared yourself ahead of time for them. That is one of the best to handle setbacks. Another thing you have to do is to be self-motivating.
Okay.
It's not all the time that the things you start first will succeed as your first attempt. Sometimes you have to go for your second attempt, go for the third attempt before you can get them working. So if you start and it doesn't work, it is not a sign for you to give up. You continue by it, because failure sometimes teaches us what success cannot. And it is good to fail from the beginning than to fail at the end.
Okay.
Once you fail from the beginning, when those same challenges shows up at the middle, you know how to manage it. When they come at the end, you know how to manage it. But when all is smooth from the beginning to the end, and you get there and you start facing challenges, how to manage them at that level becomes a challenge. So you must know that, number one, they will come. Number two, when they come, go back and repeat the process. Provided you believe in what you want to achieve, by and by, you will get there.
All right. Thank you for that. Setbacks, we just spoke about them. They will definitely come.
Yes.
So what are some of the ways to stay motivated and consistent when trying to achieve a goal?
Number one, you look at what you have done so far.
Okay.
Appreciate yourself. Yes. Number two, go back to the drawing board and find out what went wrong and what didn't go wrong. And that will serve as your motivation. Number two, that same lane, watch the success of other people. People have achieved many things in that same area.
Okay.
It will motivate you. Then lastly, look at the end result than where you are starting. If you look at the end result than where you are starting, it motivates you. So even if you fail now, your focus is not now. Your focus is still where you are going. I have done that many times. Where you start something and it fails and everybody says it's not going to work and all that. But when I look at the end result of it, I realize that no, I don't have to give up. I'll be encouraged. So my focus is not now. My focus is not my present predicament.
Okay.
My focus is on where I'm going, because I know when I get there, all these challenges will be handled. So looking at the goal, looking at the end result keeps you motivated.
On this note, I would want you to share a personal experience with us
Okay.
where you you set a goal and amidst all the setbacks, the trials, you were able to achieve it. If you can give us a vivid example to help us journey with ourselves, I would be very glad.
Okay. It has to do with my education.
Okay.
I stayed with people, and sometimes because of the work schedule in the house, you are not able to learn. And once you are a house boy, you don't have time on your own. They can call you at any time and send you at any time. So you cannot say, okay, if I wake up, this is what I will do till evening. No, you can be watching and say, okay, go and buy us something from town. Then you go and come and say, no, this is not what we want. Go and change it. By the time you realize you have spent already 1 hour from the time you are trying to manage.
Yeah.
And that makes learning very, very difficult. But I was determined. I said to myself, I can't carry block. I'm not physically strong. So book is good. You can eat any food and have a running stomach. There's no book that you read that will give a running stomach. And I think sitting down to learn is cheaper than carrying loads at the market. And that is me. So I kept at it. And there are places that you may not even have time to go for classes, remedial classes, and many other things. But I had it in mind that education should be good, is the good way to go. And I kept at it. Eventually, God has helped me through.
No, we
Even though
thank
I'm not
God for
yet there.
that.
Yes.
You are not yet there.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
I thought probably you are done with life.
No. There are people who are professors in many different fields, 2 professor degrees, and many others.
Oh, so you are disclosing something. Yeah, probably.
Yes, so
Probably.
so it has to do with my education. I faced a lot of challenges. I think I told you the other time.
Yeah, you
it took me
mentioned
13
some.
good years to go to the tertiary, but
After
I kept it
SHS.
in mind. Yes, I kept it in mind that I want to get this.
All
So
right.
one of the things to know that you truly want the 10 is your commitment to stay consistent, even in the midst of all odds and obstacles.
All
Yes.
right. Okay.
Yes.
You mentioned long-term and short-term goals, which we are now coming to talk about.
Okay.
So kindly help us understand the long-term goals and the short-term goals, the differences between them.
Okay. The long-term goals are goals that has to do with years and months. There is something you want to achieve 5 years from now, 10 years from now.
Okay.
You have the plans, you have the goals you've written down, you have the strategies and whatever. But they are not things that you can achieve now. They are things you can achieve in the future, but you plan for them. But there are some that you need to plan for a day. You need to plan for 1 week. But you have the 10 years in mind. But the 10 years, there are certain pragmatic steps you must take now in order to get there. So you plan with the short term, leading you to the long term. So you must have the long term first, then you divide them into segments, divide them into days, into weeks, into months.
Okay.
So that every week you are engaged doing what is taking you there. Every month you are engaged doing something that will lead you to what you want to achieve in the 10 years. So you cannot just jump from here to 10 years to come. It's not possible.
Yeah.
So you start with little achievement, one step at a time. So you must have short goals, you must have long goals, then you break it down to short goals, and you start from the short goals, leading you to achieve the long goals you have in mind.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So in setting of these goals, what are some of the mistakes we make when setting goals, and how can we possibly avoid them?
Sometimes we set the goals without counting the cost.
The cost in terms of money or what?
In terms of money, in terms of time,
Okay.
in terms of sacrifices. We are just excited that, okay, I want to buy 3 cars in 5 years. And you don't know that you have to a point, you have to use bicycle. You don't know that maybe the 5 years you have set can even turn to 10 years. So you must know that having 5 years goals is not automatic. You may fail along the line. So you must have all these things in mind. And once you have all these things in mind, you are able to plan your way through and work things out and get there with time. Yes.
So is there any other mistake that we should look out for and possibly avoid them?
Some of the mistakes is, let me put it this way. I don't know how to put it for you. Having something you want to achieve, and at the same time looking out for something else.
Oh,
You have
okay.
2 things in mind.
Okay.
And you want to work the 2 things out at the same time. All involve energy. All involve resources. So you pick one at a time.
To probably prioritize.
Yes,
Okay.
one over the other.
Okay.
The other one can be a standby, can be something that can be on the waiting list, but you stand for one. But you want to achieve 2 things at the same time, you end up not achieving all of them. And then people also don't know that in every dream there is a sacrifice. Yes, you must have sleepless nights. You must undergo. I don't know why you read this story about Dako Farms.
No.
Yes, when we were in JSS, we used to read his stories in a Greek book.
Oh, Your GSS is way different from
Okay, understand.
yeah.
And we're told of how this man wore five white short sleeve,
Mm-hmm.
and two khaki trousers for 5 years
Oh,
just to build a pottery farm.
so he was sacrificing money for clothes
Yes,
for the farm.
for the farm. Yes,
Okay.
anything called fashion, he avoided it.
Mm.
And those are the money he used to buy bicycles and buy motors for his workers so that they can be able to facilitate working and improving the pottery farm that he was putting in place. But you see people who start business today, they want to wear the latest suits, they want to wear the latest kicks, they want to live in posh houses, 2 bedroom self-contained, chairman hall self-contained. You could be squatting with somebody else so that those
Yeah.
monies can be invested into what you are doing. So people don't consider sacrifices when they put up goals to achieve. But without the sacrifice, it will not work.
Okay.
Nothing works by luxury. Many things are worked by pressure.
Mm.
Yes.
Okay. So, how often should we revisit our goals, review, evaluate, and then probably move forward?
In every stage, you're going to set your plans in stages.
Okay.
You have stage 1, you have stage 2, you have stage 3. So any stage that you finish, you must evaluate it before you start the second stage.
Okay.
For example, you've completed JHS. You want to go to secondary school. You want to sit down to find out your learning method when you were in JSS to see whether it really worked for you. When you plan for that and know the mistakes you made, the friends you kept, running away from classes, jumping over windows to go for untimely break, and many others. When you are able to understand this, then you know how to manage your life in SS. Then when you get to SS and you complete that one, and you want to go to the tertiary, then you now consider your SS life. Things that helped, things that didn't help, then you can now move to tertiary. So in every goal, you must work in stages. Work in stages.
Okay.
And in every stage, you evaluate to see the mistakes and the good aspect. Then you now gather yourself to take the next step. But if you have not completed the stage and you want to evaluate, you have not completed, so it will not work. And if you also want to get to the third stage, you may forget the first and the second stage. So in every stage, you evaluate. Let me use yourself for example. Maybe you want to sell clothing.
Okay.
And for a period of time, you want to have a boutique. So you must consider the clothing you were selling, how much money you were able to make, how much loss you were able to make. You were able to write down friends that came and bought it on credit and never pay. And that one was 15 cities, 25 cities. Now the boutique one can cost about 300 cities, 200
Yeah.
cities. So the one that could not pay 15 cities
Cannot,
from the Benda boutique
definitely.
should not come to the real boutique. So once you are moving from the Benda boutique to the real boutique shop you want to organize, you sit down to look back what you have done to see what you can do better in your next business stage.
Okay.
And from there, you can even have a supermarket by evaluating one step at a time. And that
Okay.
can help you know whether you are doing well or not.
All right.
Yes.
Before I let you go, your final words or final advice to our viewers on setting realistic goals, especially the youth.
Okay. I want us to understand that life is not forever. We live life in the frame of time.
Okay.
Life is not forever. There's a time we live. There's a time we are active. There's a time we are weaker. There's a time we die. So you cannot just live life as it comes because it's very short. So you have to plan well. And you cannot also achieve everything at the same time. You must achieve what you can. So every single day have a plan for your life, have a purpose for your life. That is why I did my church by plan. You must live life by plan.
So your church is in by plan.
Exactly.
Okay.
So every single day, live life by plan.
Okay.
Don't just leave it as it comes. Because you may think that you have enough time. By the time you close your eyes and open, you realize that you have no time. And you can only maximize time by having goals, setting goals, putting up the objective right, taking steps to achieve them, evaluating them, and then over time, you get them done. So nothing is achieved as it comes.
Okay.
And no success is automatic. Something has to go into it.
All right.
So plan your life every day, just as where my church is. So live life by plan.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much,
Yes.
Reverend, for coming.
Welcome.
It's been short, but it's loaded.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Life is by plan. Nothing comes just like that. Sacrifices go in. You need to be consistent. You need to be motivated and keep yourself always on the go. That is how I can summarize this whole session. And I hope you have learned something as an individual and would guide yourself with it. If you know you haven't still subscribed to our channel or you are not following us, you don't share, you don't like, no comments, nothing, you are not trying at all. Please help us grow by following, subscribing, liking, all that there is to be done. Kindly do it and let us all grow, learn together, and then enjoy the life as we live. On this note, we will bid you goodbye, but then please and please keep taking care of yourself because life is short, but do not forget to live by plan. We will see you some other time.